everybody, Lord Tremendous here, and I got another battle report here for you. And this is a first. This is a 40k battle report number 1. You're here at the Foundation battle report for 40k anyway. This is a 1300 point battle. I'm sitting at like 1260, 1261 with this army that I'm going to be playing, but it's all I could put together at the time, and I was excited to try it out. This is not me switching gears and staying away from 9th Age. I'm still going to be doing the 9th Age as well, but I'm going to integrate some 40k into it as well because it's my channel and I can pretty much do what I want because I'm a rebel like that. Yeah. Anyway, there's going to be a few changes, a few things mixed up in the battle report, just trying it out, but for the most part it's going to be my usual format, so you shouldn't see anything that throws you off too bad. Anyway, this is a 1300 point battle, and it is I, Lord Tremendous of the Thousand Sons, versus the owner of the Black Legion. And I haven't played this guy in years because he's not a 9th Age player. He was playing AOS and other games and 40k, and this is the first time I've played him in well over a year. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's like my hetero life mate, but it's just we just kind of hung out, but we haven't played any games in a long time. So this is awesome because it's the first time I get to play my 40k army, and it's the first time in over a year I've got to beat this guy's ass. So really looking forward to this one. Hope you guys enjoy it. Sit back, relax, and get ready to see how it goes. Here's my list, and yes, it is the Thousand Sons of Tremendous, because I've got an ego to feed. Back off. My HQ choice is an Exalted Hero, Jack-O-Lantern. He's got a Force Staff, Combo Bolter, and he's in Terminator armor. I do have Ahriman on a disc. He was being painted. I'll get to that later. But this guy, believe it or not, quick backstory, was painted for me by a buddy years and years and years ago when I think it was like 5th or 6th edition 40k. And I still had him on my shelf, and I pulled him down, and he's now been incorporated into the army. He doesn't match the paint scheme, but I like it enough that he's going to stick around for a bit. In the troops category, I've got a unit of 10 Rubric Knights, I believe that's, or I'm sorry, Rubric Marines, I apologize. I'm going to get the terminology messed up because I'm a noob. I have 6 Infernal Bolt guns on him, 2 Warp Flamers, a Soul Reaper cannon, and my Sorcerer has a Force Staff and an Infernal Bolt pistol. I believe I also took an Icon of Flame on these guys. The model does have it on him, but I don't remember if I paid the points to use it or not. Probably did. But yeah, this is a badass little unit. In the Elite category, I start off with a unit of 5 Scarab Occult Terminators. I believe that's what they're called. I did not buy a book yet. I've been using the store's copy. I apologize. You know, I'm working on it. Anyway, they have 3 Infernal Combo Bolters, a Soul Reaper Cannon, a Hellfire Missile Launcher, and the Sorcerer has a Force Staff and a Combo Bolter. So it's a mean little unit that can dish out some hurt. Then, mostly because I just like the way the models look, and I got a really good deal from the guy that paints them for me. I got a Hellbrute with a Multi-Melta and a Hellbrute Fist, and then I got a second Hellbrute, also with a Multi-Melta and Hellbrute Fist. And these guys are quickly becoming my favorite. You'll see why. And I believe this is a heavy support category choice. I have a Forge Fiend. And the funny part is I just bought and put this guy together the day I played this game. So if he looks a little wonky and unpainted, it's because he's brand new. He's got a couple of ectoplasmic cannons on him, and I think it's Demon Jaws or whatever. And the reason he has that is because when I put him together, I didn't even think about his kit. I put him together with what I thought was the coolest parts of the kit. So there was no tactics or strategy going into this guy. I just thought he looked cool that way. Yeah, it's still Lord Tremendous playing him, so. And here's deployment. Okay, so we decided to just deploy 12 inches in. We kind of went by the rules, but for the most part, this is my very first game of 8th edition 40k. I haven't played 40k in a long time, and never with the Thousand Sons like this. So we just decided to go 12 inches in and beat the crap out of each other. The objective is to table the opponent. So there's no objectives or anything else like that. We did roll, and I think actually that's what we got. But yeah, that's what we got for this one. So we deployed back and forth, and I ended up having my Terminators on the right side there, my Rubric Marines in the little terrain there in the middle. I've got my Forge Fiend in the terrain as well. I've got Lord Tremendous next to the Forge Fiend right behind the Hellbrute, and I got my last Hellbrute on the left side inside the bunker. I wasn't sure if I was going to go first or not because it's a little different than Ninth Age, and I wanted to be careful. My opponent, on the other hand, has a ton of infantry across on the right side and in the middle. He's got a couple of units inside the big Land Raider, I think it is, on the left side, and you know, he's got a Land Raider. Honestly, between me, you, and the world, I think he took a softball list against me. I did tell him, come at me, bro, and he did come at me, bro, but I think he took a softball list to do it, which is fine. It was just cool to play against the guy again and take my army out for a spin. That's it for deployment. So here's top of one after movement, and I got to go first, which was really, really cool. And I do. I don't really know what I should do with these guys, what I shouldn't do with these guys. Don't really have a huge game plan, so I move forward. And the first thing I learn is that my guys are incredibly slow. My Terminators go forward about 4 inches. The Rubric Marines, they move up about 5. The Forge Fiend moved up, I think, 7 or 8. My other Terminator moved up 4 or 5, and the Hellbrutes can move like 7 or 8 each, which is kind of impressive. So I just moved them forward so that things could be in range so I could shoot at stuff, and that's it for movement. Nothing's in range for the Psyker phase, so we go into the shooting phase, and the first thing that happens is my Hellbrute number 1, I guess, fires at the Land Raider and hits it and does 2 or 3 wounds to it, I believe, which isn't a terrible start at all. And then my Forge Fiend takes aim at the guys on top of that bunker over there, and I think I'm only able to kill 1. Didn't roll that great. Did not roll that great. The dice took a minute to warm up, but hey, 1 dead Space Marine is a good dead Space Marine. So next up, my Rubric Marines fire at this unit of Space Marines on the left side. There's 1 unit on the right side with with the no helmet wearing guy is another unit, and they're both just kind of in this cover. The Rubric Marines shoot at these guys, and I'm only able to kill 1. I'm not rolling great, not rolling great at all, but 1 at a time. I'll nickel and dime if I have to. I'm still learning. However, my Terminators fire at these guys and blow away 3 more. I almost got the unit taken out. Just need to do 1 more wound. But yeah, the Terminators really turned it up. And my dice are starting to warm up, which is outstanding. In the morale phase, that last guy runs away, and that brings us over here to bottom of 1 after movement. For the most part, my opponent comes straight forward. The unit on the right there, the far right flank there, it advances forward pretty much as far as it can. If you notice that straight wall of terrain there on the right flank, that's our barrier. The outside of the terrain is off the board. Just something I thought was clever. I liked it. I know some people are like, what are you doing? Shut up, people. We're playing a game. We're having fun. Damn it. Anyway, that unit on the right there fires forward towards the Terminators. It's got a lot of meltas and stuff like that, so it's super dangerous. The other unit that survived with the helmetless guy dives in there into the cover that they were in because it did so much for the other unit. It really did, actually. The captain, I think he is, or something like that, comes running up behind them to give them the reroll, I think, 1s to hit special aura. The unit on the bunker stays where it's at, and the Land Raider fires forward towards my Hellbrutes because it's got nothing to be afraid of. It's a mother effing Land Raider. And that's it for movement. My opponent does not have a psychic phase, but he does have a shooting phase, and the huge unit of, I think, missile launcher guys on the bunker fire at my Forge Fiend and do, I think, 9 or 10 wounds to it. It's not enough to kill it, but it's enough to make it mostly useless. And I don't realize it at the time, but the Forge Fiend is actually a lot better than I give it credit for, and you'll see why in a minute. Then the Land Raider takes aim at both of my Hellbrutes, and its first volley of fire only gets 1 through. I didn't get a bonus to my armor or anything like that. My opponent rolled low, and I rolled well for my armor saves. I was very happy. The Hellbrute took a lot of punishment, only took 1 wound, and it gets its BSC check, batshit crazy, at the end of this phase. So I'm excited about that. And then the rest of its shots that he called prior to shooting go into the other Hellbrute, and that one only takes 1 wound from it. So, all in all, not as bad as it could have been. It could have been a hell of a lot worse. At the end of his phase, I roll for my Hellbrutes, and this guy ends up going BSC and fires back at the Land Raider. And I believe he does a wound or two to him with his Melta, which is absolutely outstanding. It wasn't as much as it could have been, but I put some significant amount of wounds on him, and that's great considering it's shooting out of turn. I really like that rule. We're not close enough for assaults, and nothing really happens in the morale phase. I'm fine, so we go to top of 2 after movement. And I move forward because I'm really curious what my army can do. The Terminators move forward. The Rubric Marines start moving into that ruined, I guess, structure. I don't really know what it could have been. We're going to say Workers' Factory. And they start moving into that to just keep in a range. I want to see what they can do. And the only way I'm going to learn what they can do is by getting their teeth kicked down their throat. The Forge Fiend moves into the cover because I was under the impression, nobody's fault but my own, that he would get cover for walking in there, and he's only got like 2 wounds left. Oh, I'm sorry. He's got 2 wounds. He had 10 on him. He heals 1 at the beginning of my turn. He's got 9 out of 12. So he's hurting, but he's getting better just a little bit. The Jack-o'-lantern Exalted Sorcerer goes into the runes with him just because I know he'll get cover, and the 2 Hellbrutes start advancing on the Land Raider because I want to see it blow up, because what I found out was, and because my opponents told me, was if I can blow up the Land Raider, even if it doesn't explode, he's got to roll a die for every model in there, and for every 1 that he rolls, the model just dies. So that's really huge. I like that because now it really pays to try to crack open cans, if not, to stop their guns, but because you could kill a lot of stuff in there if your opponent rolls poorly. So yeah, that was my motivation, and that's it for movement. In the Psychic phase, my Terminator Sorcerer gets the big smite off, mega smite off on that unit and kills 2 of the guys, I believe. He only does D3 because he's just an aspiring sorcerer or whatever they call him. But yes, I roll a 10, as you can see, and I end up doing 2 mortal wounds to that little Space Marine unit, which is awesome because mortal wounds go through armor and invulnerable staves. So yeah, smite is devastating. Over here, same thing. Jack-o'-lantern fires off his smite on the tank. He does D3 wounds because he's an exalted sorcerer on him. Unfortunately, I only roll 1. Actually, I had to burn a command point just to make smite go off because I rolled snake eyes. But it goes off, and I do 1 wound to Land Raider. It's got 5 left. So I'm making some good leeway, or some good... I'm doing some good damage to this Land Raider, and I'm proud of that. Ugh, stupid vocabulary. During the shooting phase, my Rubric Marines kind of turned their attention to the crazy psychopath guys on top of that bunker that put like 10 wounds on the Forge Fiend last turn. And I think I'm able to kill 2 more of them, which is outstanding, all things considered. You would think AP2 compared to AP1 wouldn't be a big deal, and just like me, you would be wrong. It's actually very significant, and he's only got 2 of those little guys left, but that would be enough to kill off my Forge Fiend, and I just don't want that to happen. My Terminators unload on that unit on the right there, killing all but like 3 or 4 of them in that unit, which is significant. I think they killed like 2 or 3 more, which I'll take. Not terrible shooting at all. And then my Hellbrutes open fire on the Land Raider. They are 2 separate units, and only put 1 wound on it total, which kind of sucks a little bit. I'm really feeling, to be honest, I think it was the heavy flamer that did the damage to it. It wasn't meant to be. The Land Raider is going to try to resist. And then in the morale phase, he only loses 1 guy. One Space Marine flees the battlefield, even with his reroll. I'll take it. That's not terrible. I am still not ready to assault, so here we are in bottom of 2 after movement. For the most part, it's what you would expect. The Marines on the right, the 3 remaining Marines on the right, go into the terrain, normal, so they can shoot at my Terminators or my Rubric Marines. The guys in cover that didn't get shot at all, with the no helmet wearing guy leading them and the captain behind them, they stay put because they don't need to move to do what they got to do. The guys inside of the bunker in the top middle of the screen there, they move over to the other turret, I guess, to get a better shot off on the Forge Fiend, and all the Marines that were inside the Land Raider disembark. 1 unit goes after the Hellbrute on the right, the other one goes after the Hellbrute right in front of them, and that's it for movement. During the shooting phase, because he doesn't have a psychic phase, he fires the guys on top of the bunker in the back there, fire at my Forge Fiend and do 3, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11. They do, what, 2 more wounds to him? So he's got 1 left. He's hanging on by a thread, but he's not able to kill him this round, which I'm very, very pleased about. His Space Marines and the Ruins over here do significantly better. They were able to slip 2 wounds through on my Terminators and kill a guy flat out. Yeah, that hurt a little bit, but the Terminators did weather a lot of shots from them, and the fact that I only took 2 wounds, the fact that I took 2 wounds actually just shows that my dice are kind of not sure what they're supposed to be doing with this game. They'll learn. They'll learn. The Space Marines that just disembarked from this Land Raider that are surrounding my Hellbrute open fire on him and slip a wound through on him. I do get my BSC check against them, but, well, you'll see what happens. And then the other unit of Space Marines, and there is another captain, I believe, right next to him. You can kind of see a sword jutting out past the ruins there on the left. They all fire at this Hellbrute, and they put 3 more wounds on him because he was already carrying 2. So he gets a BSC test after this as well, but wow, I think he's only got 2 or 3 wounds left. I think he has 8. But yeah, my Hellbrutes are catching some real attention, which means my opponent knows something about him I don't know. And, well, we're going to learn together. At the end of his shooting phase, both my Hellbrutes get their BSC checks, and the Hellbrute on the right passes and goes crazy and opens up on the Space Marines. I fire his, heavy flamer into them and end up killing 2 of them. I'm sorry, the Heavy Flamer does 1 wound, and then the Melta does 1 wound as well. So, not a bad comeuppance, all things considered. In the assault phase, these Space Marines assault the Hellbrute and make it no problem. I do Overwatch. I don't do anything to him, I don't believe. And same thing here, the other unit of Space Marines that were shooting at this guy, assault him. I Overwatch. I might have killed 1, I'm not 100%, but I know there's a couple that get into combat with him, and that could be really bad. We do this combat first, and we flub. It's butterfly kisses and limp-wrist for everybody. He doesn't do anything to me, I don't do anything to him. We sit there and we contemplate if we're really warriors or not, because it's a little embarrassing. And then in this combat, my Hellbrute takes no damage. They're not able to do anything to him, but he's able to slaughter both, or 2 or 3 of the guys that got into combat with him. So I win this combat and murder them all. And that's awesome. These things are amazing. So, proud as hell as I am, we go over here to top of 3 after movement, and there is, once again, a little bit. Jack-o'-lantern goes tearing over to the left there, on the left flank, to try to help the Hellbrute that's still in combat out. My other Hellbrute moves up so that he can try to engage, so he can try to shoot the Land Raider and blow it up, and then take out the captain with the little sword thing that thought that he could hide behind his little Space Marine pals and get away with it, and he was wrong. My Forge Fiend stays right where he's at, because if he moves at all, I'm not going to be able to shoot with him because he needs 7s. The Rubik Marines move up towards the guys inside the terrain in front of them, and the Terminators do the same thing, moving towards the guys in the terrain that killed one of them last turn. That's it for movement. During the psychic phase, my Terminator Sorcerer is able to smite one of the Space Marines inside the ruins, and like I said, I'm really starting to fall in love with that Eraser I Win Easy Button spell. And then my Exalted Sorcerer does the boosted, Smite spell, the Mega Smite, where he does D6, because he's an Exalted Sorcerer, killing 3 of the Space Marines that are in combat with my Hellbrute, which is, once again, maybe even 4. I think there might only be 1 or 2 left now, and that's amazing. In the shooting phase, my Hellbrute and my Jack-o'-lantern fire at the Land Raider and get him down to 2 wounds, which I'm almost there! And over here, my Terminators fire at the guys inside the ruins, and just their combined fire explode the remaining 2 Space Marines, putting their bits and gene seeds all over what's left of the wall. I was very pleased. The Rubik Marines, not to be outdone, open fire on the unit of Space Marines that are inside that cover there and kill all but 1 of them because they're badass. I'm sorry, my Hellbrute did not fire yet. My Hellbrute fires now, finishing off the Land Raider and putting 3 wounds with his Flamer into the captain that's standing right next to him, which is really outstanding. The Land Raider did not explode, so there was no mortal wounds out, and there was nothing inside of it, so I didn't, get a chance to kill anybody like that. But the fact that the Land Raider got blown up was, it felt right. It felt right. In the assault phase, my Hellbrute on the right side there goes into that little captain guy, and Jack-o'-lantern goes into the other guy in order to try to help out the Hellbrute that's floundering a little bit. And when the blows start flying, the Hellbrute does not take mercy on the captain and rips his head and gene seed away from the rest of his body, effectively killing him without taking another wound. Hellbrutes are something else. With the little 3-inch movement you get after a combat, if you win it like that, I move him closer towards this combat, just in case Jack-o'-lantern and the other Hellbrute can't handle this character. Yeah, unfortunately right here, the Hellbrute is murdered. He swings away at this guy, fails, and he swings back and kills the Hellbrute. He's able to slip the last 2 or 3 wounds on him, killing him. Jack-o'-lantern wasn't able to do anything to him, and not only did I die in the inside, but my Hellbrute, the first casualty, the first unit casualty anyway, of my 40k Thousand Suns career, starts right here. And it's sad. We go into the morale phase, and the final Space Marine over here just panics and goes home. Just, yeah, you could find him by following the trail of piss and poop. So far so good. Here's bottom of 3 after movement, and it's not a very big movement phase. He's lost a lot of his stuff. His one remaining captain falls back. He's going to try to put him behind a bunker, so I can't just easily shoot him off the table because the Rubric Marines and the Terminators are coming for him now that there's really nothing to get in their way. The 2 models on top of the bunker are going to stay put and try to finish off the Forge Fiend and his other characters in combat, and he chooses not to disengage, so that's really it for movement. During the shooting phase, because they have a psychic phase, he fires with his missile guys. 1 guy hits and gets 1 wound through. 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 wounds, because he healed 1 last turn. They put it right back on him, and he's still alive. The Forge Fiend is on borrowed time. I know he's doing well, but he's still surviving, and that means he gets to fire back. I'm really liking these things. After that, we go into the assault phase, and Jack-o'-lantern is able to finish off the Space Marine, and then his 3-inch reposition shot, he goes back into these ruins just to try to get back into this fight, which actually was pretty cool. Now I don't have to waste time with the Hellbrute or anything. I can just go straight towards the remaining guys and hopefully wrap this game up. We go over here to top of 4, and it's exactly what you would think. I am going to rush on the left flank the Hellbrute and Jack-o'-lantern towards the remaining captain who's trying to hide behind a bunker. The Forge Fiend stays still so he can try to hit something. The Rubric Marines start moving over to the left. The Terminators start moving over to the left. Not very much. Terminators aren't all that fast, and that's it for my movement. In the shooting phase, because my psychic phase I don't even bother with, because I don't have the warp time spell on my Exalted Sorcerer. I just didn't get it. But anyway, in the shooting phase, everything that can shoots at the guys on the Bastion. I think the Rubric Marines are the only thing that need to shoot, though, and are able to kill the last 2, which leaves only that little Space Marine Captain or something like that, just behind the bunker. And once I deal with him, I win. And that's it. We go over here to bottom of 4, and the only thing that happens is his captain continues to retreat behind that bastion thing, so I can't get easy shots at him, and that's it for his entire turn. Here's top of 5 after movement, and again, the only thing that happens is everything starts converging on this guy. I want to try to kill him as quick as possible. My remaining Hellbrute, Jack-o'-lantern, my Forge Fiend stays put, and the Rubric Marines move up to try to surround him because I want to table him. I want to see what that feels like in 40k. Nothing else happens in my turn because I can't see him, so here's bottom of 5 after movement, and he comes out from around the side. My opponent moves over because he wants to try to take out that other Hellbrute, just, to get some more points, which is smart. I get it. And that's it for movement. Nothing happens in the rest of his phases, so we go into the assault phase, and he goes after my Hellbrute just like we thought he would. He attacks my Hellbrute with all of his force and is able to get him down to 1 wound. He's got 7 wounds on him. He's got 1 left. In return, I'm not able to do anything to him, and we stand there and get ready for the next turn. It's a pretty brutal fight, and once again, the Hellbrute is putting up with a ton of damage. I'm very impressed. Here's top of 6 after movement. The Rubik Marines and the Jack-o'-lantern Exalted Hero move up to get close to the one remaining enemy on the table. The Terminator stay put. The Forge Fiend stays put. And that's it for movement. During the psychic phase, I get with my Rubik's sorcerer. He fires off Mega Smite. I roll like an 11, hit wounds, and do 2 or 3 wounds to this guy, mortal wounds to the one remaining enemy on the table, ending this game. I really am enjoying the smite spam. That's something else. And there it is. There's the end of the game. My first ever 40k game in 8th edition with the Thousand Suns army. The Thousand Suns are tremendous, and I'm able to table my opponent's softball list. I felt good about it, even if it was a gimme. The army performed exactly like I had hoped. I got to go through pretty much everything about them. I got to try everything out. I got to see what they could do. I got to see what they could take. And like I said, I know my opponent was taking it easy on me. I know he didn't really bring anything super dangerous or, really even worrisome for the most part. But again, I felt really good about the list. I enjoyed the game. And we'll get to the recap right away because this game is over.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over.
So as you guys saw throughout this game, my army is painted amazingly. And anybody who knows me knows I can't paint. My wife usually paints for me. She wasn't able to for this army, so I outsourced it to Big Tom. And Big Tom charged me very reasonable prices, did amazing work in a very short amount of time, as you've seen this entire battle report, and he's willing to do it for anybody. I mean, for a price. So if you're looking to get your models painted to an incredible standard and not pay, Bill Gates prices, send this guy an email, tell him what you got, tell him what you're looking for, and get yourself a beautifully painted army to your specifications. Dude is a wizard with paint, and I can't wait to get more of my stuff painted by him. Don't be a fool. Don't play with unpainted models. Contact this guy and get your stuff looking as sharp as mine. You won't regret it, and tell him Tremendous sent you. Not that I get anything, I just like him to know that I'm trying. So as you saw, this was a victory for Lord Tremendous. I ended up tabling my opponent in the top of turn 6. Again, I know he had a softball list, I know he was taking it easy on me, but damn it, I'll take any victory I can get because that's the kind of guy I am. I ended up losing a Hellbrute. I did lose a Terminator as well, but I didn't lose the unit, so he didn't get any points. So yes, I lost a Hellbrute, my opponent lost his army, and that's what happens when you throw a Lord Tremendous a softball. He will knock it out of the park and take full credit. I don't even care. This was a very promising first game with my new army. Even if it was, my opponent going easy on me, everything in my army worked as I had hoped it would. In fact, it worked far better than I hoped it would. I'm loving this army so far. The paint, thank you again, Big Tom. If you're going to get your stuff painted, get it done by Big Tom. You're going to love it. The fluff, I've always loved the Thousand Suns story. The style of the models and everything like that, it's just perfect. I'm really enjoying this army, and I'm really happy to be playing it, and I hope to get more reports up with it soon. It is far too early to determine if any changes are going to be done to my list. I am going to add to it. I'd like a 1,500 to 2,000 point list on the regular, and I'm aiming for 2,000. Definitely in love with the psychic spell Smite. I think it's ridiculous, and I like ridiculous. I also hear that psychers are rare in this game, so it's rare that anyone's going to be able to deny the witch against me. I'm very pleased that my army doesn't have any tanks in it. I don't really like tanks, so I'm really enjoying that I can be competitive without them. And I'm looking forward to getting to 2,000 point battles so we can start playing some bigger ones and with more explosions and cool stuff in it. Like, I don't know, maybe a Renegade Knight, big ass robot with huge guns. Just saying, just throwing it out there. I'm trying to make that happen. But this was a great game, a great intro game, a great game that let me see what everything worked and how everything, was supposed to play out in a 40k game. It was wonderful to play with my hetero life mate once again after over a year of him dodging me because he's afraid of my wrath. And I cannot wait for him to put a real list together and really try to kick my teeth down my throat. Oh, that's right, baby. I said it. Come do something. Come do something, owner. Come do something. I'll be at the store tomorrow. You know my schedule. Have a list ready. I would love another piece of my hetero life, maybe. But there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. My first 40K, 8th edition 40K battle report is officially in the history books. As always, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or complaints, feel free to put them in the comments section below, and I'll get back to you as quick as I can. But yeah, guys, thanks.